Attack on Titan Final Season Episode 10. Everyone is chilling on Paradise, enjoying some nice wine. Hey Nicolo, which one do you recommend? Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm your friendly host with a funny accent and welcome to another breakdown video of the final season of Attack on Titan. If at any point my accent is too much for you, please feel free to enable subtitles in any of my videos. Today we have a lot of things to discuss, including the lost empress of the Izuru nation, some more information about the volunteers, one pregnant queen, and one of the most annoying discussions our fandom has ever had. In addition, the situation is becoming much more complicated and the timeline is very jumpy. To clarify that, I added the current year to each scene in the top left corner of your screen. So don't worry, after this video everything is going to be perfectly clear. If you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and to enable all notifications if you enjoy my content and you don't want to miss any of my videos. Also, don't forget to join the discussion on my Discord or come say hi to me on my Facebook, Twitter or Instagram. You can even support me and my channel, if you want. I will place all the links in the description. But now, let's jump into episode 10. Episode name? A Sound Argument. The episode starts with Eren's new Chad design standing in front of the mirror. Unlike last time when it was Armin telling the story to Annie, this time we have Hanji visiting Eren in the jail cell in the current time, the year 854. Remember I told you it was weird he was saying fight twice? Hanji thinks the same, and I do love how she annoys the hell out of Eren. So why was he saying it twice? Is he talking to someone? I talked about it in my previous episode review, so check it out next if you haven't already. All that actually takes place after most of the events of this episode, so we will circle back to it later on this video. 2 years ago. Back in 852, we go back to the first time the volunteers got to see Eren. But of course, we can count on Levi to not let anyone even come close to him. The scouts still don't know who they can trust. And as we have seen in the previous episode, they did turn against the volunteers eventually later in 854. This is also the first time Izuru visited Paradise in the last 100 years. 100 years ago, one of the ancestors of the Azumabito clan came to visit King Fritz on Paradise. They were friends, and he used to often visit him on his island. But after the Great Titan War, the nation of Izuru was defeated, and in all the mess, one of the ancestors of Azumabito was left on the island. He passed the family crest along the years, until it got to Mikasa's mother, and then to Mikasa. That makes Mikasa be the last descendant of the ruler of Izuru. Just to clarify, it has nothing to do with her Ackerman side, which was her dad. This is her connection to the Asian clan from her mother's side. Also, if you've been wondering if this band on her hand is new, then no, we can see she has it on her hand from the very beginning of the manga. Eren was simply the only one she ever told about it. So clearly Isayama wanted this to be something in the future, but what does it mean? Honestly, not so much at this point, and this detail didn't bring a lot of new information yet in the manga, other than the fact it is nice to know Mikasa is a true empress or queen, and that makes Historia happy, knowing that now Mikasa shares a similar burden. The people of Paradise still don't know if they can trust the Izuru, so they decide to sit and listen and try to learn as much as they can. Here we learn about the secret meeting Kiyomi had with Zeke. We also learned that meeting Mikasa was extremely important for Kiyomi, but this was also the moment a lot of very important details were cut out of the anime, so let's catch up with the manga to understand everything better. First, Zeke gives Kiyomi a gift, an ODM gear. Why? Because it has traces of a very special substance only present on Paradise, the Iceburst Stone. This substance can help Izuru create more advanced technology, and it is priceless for them. The story of the Iceburst Stone is very interesting, and if you want to know more about it, go check out my full breakdown on the ODM gear history and the secret behind it. This precious substance is what makes Izuru to be willing to help Paradise. They certainly don't want other nations to have it. It is priceless for them. That is why Kiyomi seems so overexcited when talking about it. And this is also why Mikasa, Hanji and Pixies are questioning their motives. But they also understand that they need to give something if they want to get something in return. This specific ODM gear was made by Zeke himself, using Marley technology, and it was designed after the one he took from Mike back in Season 2. Zeke also delivered his secret plan, but before that, let's see what was cut out of the anime. In the manga, Zeke actually revealed to Kiyomi the reason why he turned in his parents when he was a child. He tells Kiyomi that he is the true Eldian restorationist and his wish is to continue Grisha's mission. According to him, back then he heard the military is coming close to find the restorationists. If that happens, everyone, including him and his grandparents, would have been sent to Paradise. So in order to avoid this and also win the trust of Marley, he decided to sacrifice his parents, so he could keep on fighting as a spy. This is what he told Kiyomi, but it is important to remember that when he met Eren for the first time, he told him that Grisha brainwashed him. So it doesn't seem he respected Grisha that much, which makes us wonder what are Zeke's true intentions. Back to the episode, Kiyomi shares Zeke's plan. Step 1. Activate part of the rumbling to demonstrate to the world the power of Paradise. This will buy the island some time. Step 2. While the world feels the rumbling, Azumabito will use their nation's power to help the Paradise army grow stronger. Strong enough so they should not need the rumbling to defend them in the future. Step 3. The founding titan and a titan with royal blood must be passed down. That means that Historia, which is the last royal blood member, should inherit the Beast Titan and pass it on like the Fritz family used to do, only now with the Beast Titan. She then also needs to produce as many royal blood babies, so Paradise will always have a royal blood member that could inherit a titan. On the other hand, someone else should inherit Eren's titans so they could always activate the power of the founding titan by getting in contact with any titan produced from Historia's side. But why not let Historia just inherit all of the titans? Because, as you remember, we still have the vow to renounce war, which affects any royal blood member that gets the founding titan. That is why they need Historia to inherit a different titan, while someone who is not royal will inherit Eren's titan, which is the founding titan, and the attack titan. That means the plan forces Historia to become a baby-making machine for the government. Everyone around sees how terrible it is, although Historia is willing to accept this. Of course, Eren is also against this idea, especially because he had tried to protect Historia from this fate in the past. Eren rejects Zeke's plan, and he thinks they should explore other options. And as we know, Zeke's plan wasn't executed because Eren decided to go on his own at some point. We jump to the current time, 8:54 after the attack, when Hanji asks Eren why did he go on his own and put the island at risk. Here we get to see the new Eren of Season 4, different almost in every way from the Eren we remember from the past seasons. Just the fact that he almost transformed on Hanji shows us how this Eren is clearly much different. In addition, after inheriting the power of the Warhammer, he can now get out of his jail cell whenever he wants. We can clearly see how the burden of command is slowly eating at Hanji, and we will see more of this in the next episode as well. And in the same year, we see Historia in the advanced stages of pregnancy. The year is 8:54. In the same year, Niall and the other officers are talking about the Queen getting pregnant in the attempt to avoid Zeke's plan. There are also big amounts of wine being passed around. I wonder if it will come into effect later. But anyway, the officers are sure that someone informed Historia that the government is planning to act, so she could act before them. Why can't they feed Zeke to her now? Because they are afraid Historia and the baby will die in the process, which will be the end, because they will lose all royal blood members. This argument is the sound argument, and it's also the name of this episode. Also here we have scenes that were cut off from the anime. It seems that the officers are right, someone did come to visit Historia. They suspect Yelena, but who knows, maybe this is indeed her. More on that in future episodes. We also get a story about a farmer boy that was in Historia's life for years. Apparently he is the father. Well, I wish it was that simple, because Guess the Baby's Daddy became the most popular game in the last months. And in my opinion, it fired up the most toxic and pointless discussion this fandom has ever had, revolving more around ships than anything else. And we all know how sensitive this fandom is for ships lately. But hey, that's just my personal opinion. From here we jump 1 year back. This is year 8:53, before the attack and the events we just saw, and after Kiyomi came to Paradise. We see the scouts are building the railroads on Paradise, and look how strong Mikasa is next to all the others. The scouts are in charge of watching Eren, and they meet Hanji and Levi for the first time since they all met Kiyomi. Hanji brings bad news. The scouts have reached to Izuru and asked them to use their resources and connections in order to bring more countries to meet Paradise. Eren was hoping this will be an alternative to Zeke's plan to use Historia. Just a reminder, this is still before Historia got pregnant. But here is the problem. Izuru wants control over the Iceburst Stone. This means they won't help Paradise reach other nations. Zeke's plan is the price Paradise needs to pay. Paradise can't do it on their own simply because the entire world still sees them as devils. They are currently a common enemy for the rest of the world. If you look at Eren, you can see he is extremely different, and still not the transformed Eren we have been seeing lately. This is the moment he also understands he is running out of options on how to protect Historia. Here is where Hanji comes up with the idea to set up base on Marley. This explains how the scouts reached Marley, and also how they arrived to save Eren so fast. We will get to see those moments later in the season. Next, we have the scouts arguing about who will inherit Eren's Titan. Eren has 5 years left now. Take notice that we still don't know what the Ackermans are and how they will react to the Titan injection. And how cute Connie and Sasha trying to decide who is the bigger idiot and getting confused in the process. We also get to see blushing Mikasa, which is a blessing by itself. Eren informs everyone that he doesn't want anyone to inherit his Titan, simply because he wants them all to live a happy life and not to die after 13 years. The group keeps moving down the tracks as we jump again to the present time. This is after the attack and Sasha's death, and we can clearly see the sudden change in mood. We can see it the most with Jean, Armin and Connie. Jean looks much more serious. He also points out that this Eren, the Eren that attacked Marley, is not the Eren they all know. Connie is angry at Eren for laughing when Sasha died, and he looks extremely hurt. This is very unusual for Connie, who has always been more light-spirited than the rest of the group. Armin becomes much more pragmatic, and for the first time, he brings up the idea to feed Eren to someone else they can trust, only in the event they really can't control him. Mikasa is of course the only one that is still convinced that Eren is still their friend and that he cares for them. The group decides that Armin and Mikasa will talk to Eren before they decide what to do. This conversation will take place in the next few episodes, and believe me anime watchers, it will be interesting. And right from here, and still in the same year, we see Levi guarding Zeke in the forest of the giant trees. And that is the end of this episode and everything the anime didn't explain or left out. If you're an anime only, please tell me if you felt the episode was confusing and if my timeline could help clear things up. And manga readers, let me know if you think the pacing was fine. You are all invited to join the discussion on my Discord or come visit me on any of your favorite social media platforms. All the links are in the video description. Thank you again for joining me today, my Titan loving friends, and I will see you all real soon. And until then, don't forget to dedicate your hearts to humanity inside and outside the walls.